And N'Keal Harry, he has requested a trade away from the New England Patriots. The Niners had him ranked higher on their draft board. From what I understand, they would have taken him over Deebo Samuel had they had the opportunity, but they didn't. He was a first-round pick. Do you think the Niners should trade for Harry? Probably wouldn't be too expensive.
Yeah, if they can get him for a sixth or a seventh, something way down there that's not expensive, then go ahead and take a flyer on him and see what you can get. I don't think he's a guy that's going to be a difference maker for him, but they're at a point where I think they just need to have a little bit better depth at that wide receiver position, and I think given their interest in him before the draft, it would make sense for them that they might have interest and want to bring him in and actually see him on the field for the with their roster and their players.
He could be a good slot receiver for them. He could be their number 3 receiver. He could sort of give them what they hoped Jalen Hurd would give them.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he is, a slot guy. If you watch what he does in New England, he's a Deebo Samuel, but without the explosiveness. And that's part of, I think, why he's had the issues that he has in New England, is he doesn't have he doesn't have that quick off the line of scrimmage explosion. The other guy that they have that they got that same year that New England got, that's the undrafted rookie. He's faster than him off the line. Jacoby Myers. Yeah, he's a more explosive player, and that's part of why I think off the line of scrimmage you can watch them. On the film, that's one of the nice parts about Game Pass is you can actually watch these guys, even if you're not a New England fan, just go watch them. And it shows up really quick on film that he's not explosive off the line of scrimmage, and that's I think part of the reason why he's been struggling in New England, along with the fact that he missed I think the first half of his rookie season with injuries. He got injured again this year when he got hurt against the 49ers when they took him out on that crossing route in that game. So I think there's some interesting issues there with him, but why not take a flyer if you can?
Yeah, and I think there are things that he can do where I liked him coming out of college. And if I remember correctly, he's about 6'3", maybe 6'4". He has long arms, and he's good at making contested catches because he doesn't create a ton of separation. So if he gets fit in the slot, he has long arms, and he can make contested catches over the middle, kind of the way Kendrick Bourne will for the Patriots. It's interesting that Bourne is taking Harry's job. They're kind of similar.
That's what I was just going to say is that we're talking about him, and I know that he was a first-round draft pick, but everything that everybody seems to like about Harry is the same stuff that Kendrick Bourne, people liked about Kendrick Bourne. And there's a reason, I think, why New England brought in Kendrick Bourne and N'Keal Harry is in the situation that he is right now.
Good point. So, sure, 6th or 7th round pick. I asked Vish this earlier. Would you trade Jimmy straight up for N'Keal Harry?
If you could get New England to take him off your hands, I think, I would make that move because
the whole contract,
Yeah, because they're Garoppolo's not long for the 49ers, no matter how much we want to make it seem like he is. And I think the Patriots really do have a love affair with Jimmy Garoppolo that I know they've made moves, but I think they still really have a soft spot for Garoppolo. Right.
So it seems to me that Jimmy Garoppolo might want to go back to the Patriots too. And he could veto any trade to any marginal team. Who's to say he hasn't already? So if the 49ers are in a position where the only option is cut Jimmy or trade him back to the Patriots for pennies on the dollar, I might rather have N'Keal Harry than a 6th-round pick in 2022.
Yeah, I think I think the 49ers would rather have that as well. And I think that Garoppolo would be more inclined to maybe take a lower cost deal to go over there and try to rebuild his brand in the NFL at this point.
One thing that I think N'Keal Harry can do that Kendrick Bourne can't is the gadget stuff. He did a lot of that at Arizona State, the reverses, the stuff after the catch. I don't know if he didn't get an opportunity to do that in New England or he just doesn't translate to the NFL, but that was one of the big selling points with N'Keal Harry at Arizona State were those gadget plays. So I'd be interested to see if the Niners could use him that way here.
Well, when this kind of broke this morning, I decided to go back and see what I could find on him. I couldn't find really much of his college film, so I didn't really get a chance to look at his Arizona State. But what I did do is watched him against the Seahawks at the beginning of this year, and he had a pretty good game in that game as far as yardage. And in that game, New England used him a lot like a gadget player, like how they would use Deebo Samuel or Ayuk in terms of he was pretty much just given. He was their screen guy. That's pretty much what he ran was the screens. He ran he had one catch on a crosser, but other than that, he was pretty much just their screen guy. And when they tried to go deeper down the field to him, they couldn't get it to him. And part of the reason was, again, the lack of explosiveness off the line of scrimmage. So, he's at the point where to me, I think he's a Deebo Samuel step down from him. He's going to give you, he's going to be able to make those plays, but he's not going to get you 15 yards. He's going to get you 5. Deebo's going to get you 15. He'll get you 5, and that kind of thing.
Well, I think what's interesting about Harry is you got to remember one of the reasons the Niners ended up with Ayuk is because they did so much research and scouting on Harry the year before. They both went to Arizona State. And when Harry was in his final year at Arizona State, Ayuk was pretty much his backup. Didn't really play much. And I'm sure the Niners spent a lot of time with Herm Edwards and on that campus learning about Harry. And in the process, someone probably said, you should probably wait and just check out Brandon Ayuk, who's going to be starting and replacing him next year. He's actually more dynamic. So it's no surprise that the Niners were early to the party with Brandon Ayuk. Do you think all that research they did, they could go to Ayuk and say, what do you think? I mean, it seems like they probably already know a lot about Harry. They could ask Ayuk his impression.
Yeah, though they definitely could. I mean, if they haven't already, might as well ask him because they played together. He's going to know a lot about him. They're in the same room together all the time in terms of their meeting room and things like that. So it makes sense.
Keneal says, this is a no-brainer to me. He's cheap, another yak guy, and he's insurance in case Hurd doesn't stay healthy, or Deebo, or Ayuk. He's better than Jennings in my opinion. Yeah, I think he's probably better than Jawan Jennings. I think the Niners, the kicker is that the Niners had this guy ranked higher than I believe Deebo and Jalen Hurd on their draft board. So maybe they feel like there's something there still.
Yeah, I understand that. I guess it's a no-brainer from the standpoint of go ahead and throw something cheap to try to maybe bring him in. But when you look at his numbers across the board compared to the players that were brought out that came out of that class in 2019, he's not good at all. He's Jacoby Myers, Steven Sims, Preston Wilson, Jalen Guyton, Bray Ward, all guys that were undrafted free agents that have had a bigger impact in the NFL than he has. And as far as the guys that were taken at the top of the draft, I mean, he's not even close. He's the only guy that's even close to him that's been as bad as him has been J.J. Arcega-Whiteside with Philadelphia and Paris Campbell in Indianapolis. And both those guys are second round guys that you wouldn't expect to be that good anyway.